Welcome to episode 100 of the XrmToolCast. In this episode, we go back to the basics. We go back to episode numero uno with Jonas and Tanguy, and we had to throw Scott in there too, just because of his contract, but it's okay. Anyway, this episode, we're mostly just hanging out, and we get to see a little bit about what Tanguy's working on the XrmToolBox. So sit back, relax, and let's relive the memories and make some wonderful new ones. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the XrmToolCast. And here I have myself, Daryl, always raising the bar, and Scott. He still wishes he would have gone to the MVP Summit to talk about everything that we can't talk about. Durow, Scott, how's it going?
Well, yes, very good, thank you. Very good, Daryl. Yeah, I'm still reeling in that, but yes. But yeah, I feel as though AI is giving me all the information that I need on the daily basis.
AI has replaced the summit. It's replaced the social interactions.
Absolutely, totally. But
you and your wife are separated now. Yes, I understand.
AI is the answer to everything. It's just biding its time until the time when it's just take over the world. Time is an interesting. Wendy's is now doing AI drive-through.
AI drive-through to take your order?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time before they get some kind of robotic thing to get your order wrong at the window as well.
Does it take a picture of you and based on your athletics skillness, does it decide how much you should order for you automatically? You look like you need 2 big bacon classics. Like
Sorry, sir, I can't fulfill that order based on
your BMI or something. Yeah, that'd be great.
Your government's, yeah.
Someday.
But I once ordered some ice caps. Well, I ordered 2 ice caps, but then I ended up getting 7 ice caps at Tim Hortons. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to understand my accent. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But maybe it'll be better. Who knows? But I was we were having a little chat beforehand, before the show, and with a couple of guests that we have.
Yes.
Yeah, which is very exciting. And one of the phrases was, I'm not a super developer, was one of them. And then another phrase that was used was like, oh, well, we can always ask for help. And I think that sums up the awesomeness of the people that we have on our show. And do you want to, Daryl, do you want to kind of say the special thing, the significance of this show?
Yes, this is our, I'll say it in the introduction, but this is our 100th episode. So we are bringing back, this is a throwback episode to the very first episode that we have. And that very first episode, our host was myself and Jonas, and our special guest was Tanguy, the man, the myth, the legend. So Tanguy, Jonas, welcome to the show. 100 episodes have gone by, and we're back where we started again.
I'm in awe of you guys. I feel like massive imposter syndrome here. You are the amazing people, and I am always looking up to you guys as for inspiration in the community and in the work you do. So yeah, and the fact that you're so humble as well is just, yeah. You guys are awesome. That's all I've got to say. I think that may be all I'm going to say on this episode.
That's great to hear you sort of represent Tanguy, but could you please say something about me as well?
You see, it's just a case in point, Jonas.
I'm just the guy who gave you the job to be here on this podcast. Okay, thanks.
But Scott, you just stole my words. I would have said the same about you. Just follow your YouTube videos and just the great stuff to learn everything about which is new and Power Apps and Canvas and custom page and everything. So you're also the best resource for me to get the knowledge about the Power Platform.
I actually get kind of upset at Scott because he never says, "Hey, I just developed this or talked about this or wrote this," and he never brings it in as a topic to the show. Because I think I'm reading on LinkedIn, it's like, well, this is great. Why didn't he mention it? And I guess maybe he just doesn't want to share it. I mean, he's too Canadian already. He's too humble. He can't do that. I don't know.
It's all about the guests. I don't want to talk about the stuff. No one's interested in what I do. It's all about the guests.
Everybody except for you is interested in you, Scott, and that's okay because you're just humble. It's fine.
So does anyone have anything good to say about Daryl as well? Or just because he's the host? That's enough.
And that's why we love you, Jonas,
okay,
for your expertise and your wit.
I got a big enough head. We don't need to make it any bigger. That's definitely the way that should go.
But I'm sure Daryl has already his XrmToolCast episode planned for his tool, early band generator, the new version.
Oh, yes. Is that a special request from Tanguy to have another one on early binding? I think we've done 2 episodes on early binding. I think I've kind of hit the limit on the show for that, though.
So you already talked about yourself on this episode.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right. We got it covered. So if we go back, and I was listening to the very first episode, we had no idea what we were doing. We still don't. So we got that in common. Just kind of wing it. But at least we have some routines, right? And we didn't have any routines the first show. And it was amazing that some of those routines were already in the show without us planning it at all. I don't remember how we decided who would talk first. I think because I was a native English speaker, I went first just because, or maybe because I'm American and that's what we do. I don't know. It beats me. But that's still the case. We still start off that way. And we have learned some things along the ways as well. But yeah, it's been a long time. We had a lot of kids in the background in the very first episode. That was a good thing. And if you're watching, Tanguy's got a lot of kids stuff in the back of his. And I was in my laundry room for the first episode, and now I have an office, so I got like office junk in the background. So things have changed, things are different. Scott's on a completely different continent. He wasn't there in the first one, so but if you would have,
I think that's the big change. I wasn't even there at the beginning, so I'm just this appendage along for the ride.
And I'm almost positive that Jonas wasn't wearing a Seattle shirt the first time.
Oops. But something I noticed, but I think I wasn't that beautiful. But when Scotty got in and took my place, then we have to do it on YouTube instead. We have to sort of record our images as well. Maybe I should just hold for my camera. Is that good or bad? Or I don't know. But anyway, that's like a bit more than 2 years ago when you started to record it with the camera as well.
Yeah,
because that was a moment where we changed a bit.
Yes, we did. In the first episode, we talked a lot about how did Tanguy get started with the XrmToolBox and what was the impetus of that and all that kind of stuff. So we won't go back to how did it begin, but I figured with Tanguy here we could talk about what's some stuff that's currently in the works or maybe has been in the recent memory. So I think like around 6 months ago, I think you had a fairly major kind of UI redesign of the toolbox. So how long were you working on that before you actually showed it? Did you stuff that you abandoned or is everything you got in there is exactly what you wanted? Give us a background on this.
It's all started because I saw some comments in the internet about how ugly was XrmToolBox was. No, it's the year 2000 UI design. It's WinForms, so it's not really easy to pimp and to have something really sexy. So I say, okay, we can do better for sure. And the second point was also that I was relying on NuGet APIs for all the tool library, and it was difficult because it embeds a lot of assemblies and it's with a big weight. So you have too many files. So I wanted to move away from the APIs and just use standard REST request calls. So the target was the tool library to do some changes, and NuGet in Visual Studio is pretty cool, I guess, from a UI standpoint. So I wanted to have something similar to what we can find in Visual Studio and you download packages. So I tried to do some UI fixes, and I discovered that you can just redesign and repaint all the drop-down list, etc., the list view components. And so I tried that, and so I succeed to do something, and so I learned how to change the UI of a list view. I say, oh wow, it's great! I can do it everywhere in XrmToolBox.
I love the level that you set for yourself. I succeeded at doing something. That was the bar. You met the bar. That's great. You set the bar just the right height. I succeeded at doing something.
And as I said, I'm not a super developer, but I know how to use Stack Overflow and Google, and that's enough to produce something cool and to find how to produce something cool. So I redesigned the tool library so that it can look like what we can find in Visual Studio for the Negate packages. And as it was, I was successful in there, so I pushed a new version, which is always stressful for me because there is so many users every day that use XrmToolBox. Since the Power Platform is rising, we just gain 3,000 users per week, I guess. So wow. It's almost per day. Sorry, per day. So it's we came from 12,000 to 15,000 users per day. So each time there's a new version or new release, just how many comments I will have because I broke everything.
Well, I never notice anything breaking. I mean, tell us more about that process, because every time I see a new update, I always think about you, Tanguy. I always think about you making these changes and pushing that button, to say, push it out there, and when the new update pops up, I feel I'm sort of get the emotions come down the internet, and I feel kind of the tension and the anxiety that comes from it. So tell us more about your process and how you do it.
This is a complicated part because I have some updates ongoing, which are changing the UI for the settings and for the tools list itself. And I pushed a beta version on my GitHub repository and put a tweet and say, hey, you can test this version just to make sure everything is okay, it's not breaking. There was maybe 4 downloads in 3 weeks. So you say, okay, I'm on my own. I'm on my own on this one. If it breaks, nobody has tested this version. So it's quite stressful, and so the process is just I'm doing some changes and I'm trying to use this debug version for my day-to-day work, and just trying to find if there is something broken or not. And when I feel it's okay, then I release a version. But sometimes I have to fix it really quickly because it happens that it broke something.
How bad of a break are we talking about here? Is it just, if you do this one thing, you're broken, or hey, you can't use it at all? Like what level are you breaking the toolbox? Because I haven't noticed it being broken since I think the last time I did something that broke it with NuGet. I can't remember what I did, but I brought everything down worldwide with NuGet back 3 years ago.
The worst part, I guess, but it was just conditional, so it was not for everybody. But I know some people lost their connection files because of me, and I have connection files with hundreds of connections. So when you lose them, you're not really happy. So now there was never a really big break that really needs me to work really hard and really quick just to fix it. But there was other issues. I remember a replacement of a workflow to a Power Automate flow. This is the flow that updates your tools on the XrmToolBox portal. Okay. And so I moved from a classic workflow to Power Automate, and I just did not realize at the time that you shouldn't use variables in parallel execution.
Okay.
So the point was that each time a new plugin was updated, it was remembering the other name that the other plugin. So each version of each plugin was mixed. And so the library was all completely broken. So this one was particularly complicated.
I do remember that one. Yeah. So there was like beta versions of stuff coming. Yeah.
Even one version have 13 versions, and you don't know why, and you can download them anyway. Or if you download them, not the tool you requested. So it was the most impactful problem that happened, I guess, in XrmToolBox. But it was not XrmToolBox itself. It was the way I managed the the tools in the XrmToolBox portal.
I'm not sure if many people know, but the fact that you've got the Power Platform doing all of that stuff in the background, supporting the portal where you go in and you get all your plugins and submitting them, and where you submit reviews and everything. So that's awesome, and it's you're kind of, I think Microsoft call it, eating your own dog food. I think that's the phrase, right?
And I have to thank Microsoft for that, because they are actually paying this instance for me.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yeah. So as long as the XrmToolBox lives, I guess Microsoft will help me to maintain this Dataverse instance to manage everything, because the day they say it's over, we know the cuts that exist in Microsoft these days. If they say we cut, so we don't have XrmToolBox anymore.
Let's hope that day never comes. It'll always be there for us, always helping us out.
But this is the reflection I have. Say when XrmToolBox will end, maybe one day we will need another tool, or maybe WinForms will be abandoned by Microsoft. I don't know. But there is this question. When all of this will end eventually. Let's hope not, but maybe.
You've never got any requests from tools from Microsoft?
Oh, that's a good question.
Have you got any requests yet?
No, I never had any requests from Microsoft for tools. No. I have some exchange with people in charge of tools for Microsoft, asking what we should do as tools. I remember, for example, what we have now in Visual Studio Code, all this extension that comes with Visual Studio Code. I talked with a guy which was the team lead at the time, and was asking how do you handle the web resources, for example, in your tools, and what should we do in Visual Studio Code to handle them, etc. But they never requested any tools from me.
All right. So going back to this idea that you're not a good developer or something, I have to argue against that, because well, maybe not, maybe I'm not a good developer either, and so maybe I can't argue against it. But if we have the assumption that I'm an okay developer, all right, you're at least better than me, because you found a bug that had been in the base plugin class since like day one with threading, and I knew the bug was there. I could see it happening. I just didn't know how to fix the stupid thing. And that was, if you had like two windows open at the same time, two tabs open, and they were both doing, showing a little loading message or waiting message, and they're both doing like a query, you would get them to hang, and one of them would never close. And always have that modal popped up. And about 6-7 months ago, I think you finally like, hey, do you think this is the issue? And I was like, yes, that is the issue. So you're at least better than me. Come on. So yeah. So whatever level you put on me on, you're better than that. So
this one was really the most boring bug. I'm using XrmToolBox every day, like many of us, and really it was why is this progress panel still there? I can't see what's behind.
Probably had some choice French words for me every single time. That Daryl can't fix it.
And it was about a static keyword in front of a property that shouldn't have been there. When I found it, it was a big step forward. Yes. Finally.
Yes. Yes. And the V2 of the early bound generator, one of the early bugs I had was that it was remembering settings from before. So if you change your settings and went to regenerate it, it wouldn't work. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? And I finally, because I'm not shelling out anymore, I'm actually bringing it in process and memory with the new SDK DLLs from Microsoft. It had a static config somewhere stuck in the bowels of the code base that was causing me pain. So yes, but once I figured it out, I was so happy. I was like, yes, I figured it out. I can move on with my life. So yeah. So you say you're on 15,000 users a day. Is that what you're averaging?
Yeah, or I say 15,000 users. It's more 15,000 opening of XrmToolBox.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I'm not counting the user exactly, but it's how many times the application is open. And so, yes, it was a big raise the last 6 months or the last year. It was more and more users. Sorry. that's coming to XrmToolBox, and it's quite nice. It's all these people that's low-code developer, citizen developer that are coming to the Power Platform that are discovering the XrmToolBox, and it's nice, but it's more pressure.
There's a couple low-code MVPs at Summit that that didn't know about the XrmToolBox, and I was like, "Hey, you guys are missing out. Like, this can make your life a lot easier for this, that, or the other thing." So yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because I'm chatting with some French MVPs per platform that coming from Canvas world or SharePoint world, and when you say, "Hey, there is XrmToolBox, I can help you." What is it? XrmToolBox? Okay, I will show you, and you will use it. So it's and yeah, say, "Oh wow, it's great, and there's so much tools." Pretty cool.
So here's the question. Naming things is hard. If you had to name the XrmToolBox today, you're brand new, no one ever heard of it, and you're naming it today, what would you name it?
Oh, it's a tough question.
But it has to be something with
honestly,
Xrm. I mean, Xrm is the best thing, right? It is Xrm anyway. No matter what the market people talk it.
Dataverse Toolbox? DTX? Or I don't know. So,
Dataverse Toolbox, yeah, okay.
Not original at all, but
it's named by a developer, not a marketing person. Totally, I'm with you.
I'm not good at marketing.
I mean, at this stage, it really doesn't matter what it's called because the reputation precedes it, right? So yes. It's like it could be called anything, and everyone will be like, "Well, that's what we use."
And there are spin-offs from your tool, the XrmToolBox. They got another name, XrmToolCast. Oh, that's it. Yeah. That's it. This place.
Yes, that's this place. Yes, yes, and that's our email address is still XrmToolBox. So, yes.
I mean, the days that XRM disappears from the platform will be. I mean, that would just be. I mean, that would be in a moment. It's everywhere, right? So there's no. Yeah, I mean, CRM is still there. Goodness me.
It's going to be the day that the .NET framework goes away. And .NET Standard, .NET Core is the only that's the day it will go away, I think. And I hear Tanguy, that you I made a request and you may have thought about looking at doing a 4.8 version, .NET Framework 4.8 for the XrmToolBox. Is that coming? Do you need people to come out and test it and break it? Or because it's kind of I changed something and I have no idea what I broke, if I broke anything or if everything's perfect, right? Is that kind of the fear with that?
Yeah, you know this animated GIF with the dog that say, "I don't know what I'm doing." That's exactly that, The day we are going to 4.8, I don't know, it will maybe explode or not. The point is, I can test if it works for the tools I'm using day to day. But there is almost 300 tools in XrmToolBox, and I can't afford to test them one by one to check if it works or not. So yes, the day we are going to 4.8, there will be maybe cries, tears. I don't know, but yeah, maybe I will ask for testing from people. And, there's always tools that are not maintained but used by many people, so you never know what will happen. and this is I'm not a super developer part of it. So I don't know the consequences. So, but yes, let's try.
Just throw it out there. No one uses it anyway.
So which is harder, going to the 4.8 or just make it web-based?
Oh wow! You're throwing down the gauntlet there, Jonas.
Do you have any tool that convert a WinForms application to a web-based app? If you have one, I'm okay.
Well, Scott got it the other way. It was web-based, and then it's XrmToolBox based.
Yeah, and that was a great day for XrmToolBox too, when Ribbon Revenge arrived in XrmToolBox. So yes, finally we have the tool.
That was because Tanguy, you were pretty much emailing me on a daily basis. Like, come on, dude, come on. Where is it?
I maybe push you a bit. It was a great day. I had the best tools, the most useful tool in XrmToolBox, and it was really nice. But
I mean, I had to do it web-based because I had to, embed it in like it is, because there was no way I was going to write it in WinForms, because that would just be take, forever and a day. So, yeah, I kind of cheat. It felt a little bit cheating, really. So, I feel as though it's not really a proper plugin.
Yeah, but it was really nice implemented, and a lot of people ask, "Hey, how did you do that? How is it possible to have this web-based in Base?" And no, we have other tools that are using the same techniques. Even if it's with the Chromium extension. We have the Dataverse Trace Builder from Guido. That is using the web-based plugin too, and it works really, really nice.
So I'm gonna have to rewrite my tools as a web-based tool. I probably do, don't I? I want to do that. I'm not a web developer.
Well, it's interesting because that's really where things are going now, isn't it? With apps now, is very much a case of make them progressive web applications, and then you can then embed them anywhere you like. And I'm using the latest version, the new version of Outlook. Has anyone tried that? The new version of the beta, which is pretty good. I'm loving it, actually. Way better than the old one, which has just become too clunky and memory hog. And of course, it's just the same as the web version. It's except for it's got some slightly better multi-account management features and stuff like that. But that's just effectively a web app. It's a progressive web app that installs inside Windows. So yeah, I think that's probably the way things are moving. But at some point it'll come around. It'll be like, why did we ever do this web thing? And it'll go back to some framework that's running, locally.
So I'm guessing most of our listeners don't care, but Jonas will, because he follows American football. So they just released their schedule for the year.
Slightly switch the topic.
Well, I'm getting it. I'm going to draw it back here.
XrmToolBox NFL.
This is archaic. Okay. We always get off topic.
Just going to throw a thread exception here, multi-threading exception.
So announcing your schedule is really kind of dumb. Like, okay, we're playing these teams in these dates. There's no reason to have any fanfare about it. But they've started creating these funny videos of all these, different. Each team creates a video. They do it unique. It's different. It's funny. It's interesting. And I thought of maybe doing the same sort of thing with Tanguy as like the MVP renewal, like at the time of the year. Like at the end of the Indianapolis Colts video, they had their last year like first draft pick washing dishes. Like, hey, you're out. And then they had the new like star, like number 3 pick in the draft. Someday maybe the greatest quarterback ever, or he may not be. He probably won't be by odds. But anyway, and they made him go in and wash the dishes, since that was like the little shtick at the end. So I could picture a video like Tanguy, like doing like having to like do dishes or something in order to keep his MVP reward or something like that. I can during renewal, that'd be great. Or maybe we go the other way. He just says, I'm Tanguy, and he just like writes it down. And then we have someone like Scott and I that are like filling out all of our, we're taking hours to fill out everything we did. But we're taking some time to fill everything we did.
You know what? I feel as though when I fill out all of the contributions and stuff, I always think, you know what? Tanguy just has to write XrmToolBox.
Yes.
Submit.
Honestly, I have 3 contributions: XrmToolBox application, XrmToolBox website, and my tools when I develop this. Oh, I have some PCF too.
But you don't need to mention that. That's my point. You don't even need to say that.
Yeah, that's 4 lines. and I'm relying on all other developers that will push some new tools on XrmToolBox and say, hey, you see, there is so many new tools in XrmToolBox. Give me my word.
and to be fair, Jonas, you literally only need to write Fetch XML Builder as well, because I suspect that there is not a single person in the Power Platform that doesn't actually use the Fetch XML Builder at some point during their career. So it's the same goes for you.
Probably the most of my users, they are at Microsoft. So I may say that. Maybe I shouldn't say that. No, I don't count like that. But yeah, but it's fun that many people use it, and they're so or they're so glad for the tool exists. So that's fun. Maybe I should also do the same thing as you when we're writing in our contribution to Microsoft that I've created a tool point.
Yes, that's right.
Let's see
Say no more.
See if that goes over well. I don't know. Let's see. So it's some UI changes. We've got anything else that you've got coming down the pipe on the toolbox you're looking to do?
Yeah, actually, but maybe you already tested it. I have new connection controls or new UI for the connection controls. The way you manage your connections, the way you select them. I guess it's still in beta. To be totally honest, I have so much work since a month that I even don't remember what I released exactly. Yeah, really. I was on the point to release a new version of XrmToolBox. I have just few adjustments for new UI, like I said, for settings and the tools list itself. I was about pushing the button, and all this work came to me, and I just don't have time anymore for working on XrmToolBox these days. But so what is planned? So what is planned is a new UI for the tools list, which is now also a list view revamped and redesigned, really totally custom. So we have a better look like we can have in tool library now. And also a new UI for the settings, which looks like more modern application, I will say. And it does not look like WinForms anymore. So it's pretty cool. I like it. It's really nice from the UI standpoint. What I'm afraid of, and I already have some feedback for the new connection controls. If some people with IDP DPI monitors, they don't see anything. It's really too small. So I have few issues that were raised on the GitHub repository, saying we don't see anything on these new screens. Do something. Okay, I don't have, or I have high DPI monitor, but this is my own with my own settings, and it works fine on my computer. So I don't know what to do, or I need help from other developers that have this kind of monitor to test and be sure it will be readable from a user point of view. Because we talk a lot about accessibility in core platforms today. Everything must be accessible, and I really understand that. But I just don't have any clue on how to to be sure it's accessible in WinForms and for high DPI monitor or low DPI monitor. I don't know. Maybe some people are still using their 15-inch monitors with a low resolution. I don't know. So this is a complicated point. It's really to be sure that everybody will have the better experience from a UI standpoint. I know it works well on my computer, so I'm happy.
Works on my machine.
It will on all the computers.
Classic.
Yeah, the bug is not on me. It's
the phrase that every developer uses at some point in their career.
Yeah, it works on my machine. Yeah.
Do you have anything that allows you to roll back if you push something out and like, oh, this version has some major issues? Like, do you just have to push a new version, or like do you have any?
What I did for this new UI is to provide the settings that activate the new UI or not. So you can still keep the old version. Yeah, that's what I did for the tool library, because as I said, I want to remove all NuGet assemblies, but I can't do it in one step. So the first step is to avoid using the assemblies and use direct API call. This is what is working this day. Today you don't use the assemblies even if they are still on your computer. And on a future version, maybe I will do the cleaning process to remove the NuGet assemblies. And this is the same for so that will be the same for this new UI stuff. You will have to it will be activated by default, but you will have the possibility to ask to use the classic experience.
Okay, makes sense. I have realized recently that on the project I used to work on before this one, it wasn't a CRM project, Dataverse project at all. It was some service bus project that happened to interact with Dataverse, and so most of my coding was not actually like no plugin. It was all just Azure web development kind of stuff. And that kind of has broken me. Because now when I go back into plugins, like I'm like, oh, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, I need to be doing this sort of thing, and I can't just like write it how I used to, which takes a whole lot less time. Because I'm like, oh, it's got to be better, it's got to be good enough. Does anybody else struggle with that? Anybody else have that find that issue of now I've been doing this for so long that I've got all these things I've learned that now I can't even get started. Is that an issue? Is that a name? Is there a name for that?
There should be a name for it. Yeah, we should. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It's context switching between languages as well. I mean, I find TypeScript development between C# TypeScript really hard. I mean, it does take me, I think as I get older, I think if I'm honest, I think it's taking me longer. But because we are now we're sort of talking geeky stuff, developer stuff, which I feel as though is like a kind of going back to the roots of the show, geeky, hardcore dev stuff, and I was going to ask a sort of related question as well to that one, Daryl, which is probably the same. It's with the same thing about the mindset of being development, as well as do you have problems when you're switching between different styles of coding, but also do you have a particular place that you do coding, a particular some music you listen to that gets you in the zone? I mean, both Tanguy, Jonas, what is it that gets you into that state of mind where you need to be in order to write good code?
Or just your normal code that you don't consider good, that everybody else will find.
Everyone else is good code, but you're just regular code.
Well, for me, probably too late in the evening. I mean, it's too late, later than it should be. I should work in the day, but it's in the night. I suddenly get the idea, and then I code best.
The evening time, all right.
So
music preference
after 9 o'clock, or it's like, are we talking like real early hours, sort of?
No. I'm just talking like say 8 until midnight, something like that. And that's too late for me. I should be going to sleep, and so.
On my side, there was time where I was developing coding, during the evening. I remember when I was coding Web Resource Manager, it was really I was in front of the TV in the evening and coding in the same time, because I wanted really to move forward on this plugin. But now, after 10 years of XrmToolBox development, I say no, I don't want to lose my evening for that. So when I find time at lunch maybe, or I'm really at the end of the workday, I take 30 minutes or an hour. But I'm not spending my personal time now on XrmToolBox anymore. It's really during the day, and I just code it too much. XrmToolBox. I didn't count the hours of development, but there must be some of them. So now it's really I'm taking my personal time for me, and not for XrmToolBox. Yeah.
Is there anything that you need around you, like, to make you get into that zone? Like, do you need quiet? Do you need music? Do you need coffee? What needs to be there? Or can you just do it anywhere?
I can do it anywhere. Yeah. But
wow.
I prefer to be on my desktop. But I don't need coffee because I don't like coffee. But no, and I have always my kids going around, What are you doing, Dad? Okay, I'm just coding. What it is, I can't explain to you. No. 9 and 5 is too young to learn coding, I guess.
But what you said, Tanguy, about could you just sit in the couch and just bring the laptop on your there, and you sitting there coding, and I have to relate to this as when me and my wife are sitting in the couch and we maybe have TV on, and I'm sitting there with my computer. She said, "Why are you working at this hour in this evening? You're working." And I was like, "I'm not working. This is fun. I'm creating things. That's just fun." She's knitting, every time, always. Said, well, you're working as well. You're working in another way, but yeah. So after too many years, she finally understood that I'm not working. I'm just having fun with the computer. Even if having fun doesn't mean I'm just watching YouTube, but I like to create things.
That's so true. So true. That is so, yeah. And it's hard, isn't it, to explain to people when you do as far as from the outside world, you're doing exactly the same thing as you do all day.
Yeah, so it's really hard to split up which is work. I mean, technically work, and which is having fun. Like if someone else is just looking from behind me and seeing what I'm doing, it looks like I'm working. I should sort of get paid for this. So it's hard to make a difference.
And yes, and they ask, are you working? No, but you have your finger on the keyboard. Yes. But you're not working. But you're using the same computer when you work? Yes, but I'm not working.
Yes. Just because I don't want to buy another computer to my free time. So I like to have one computer. I have one phone.
It's the more you program, I think the more you realize that programming is more of an art than it is a science. Like you can appreciate the way somebody's written something or coded something or admire the solution they've come up with or this, that, or the other thing. And we're all tackling a lot of very similar problems, and being able to read code and look at somebody else's stuff is always very interesting to see what they're doing. And then realizing, oh, I wrote that 3 years ago. What was I doing? That's the other funny part too.
Yes. That's the worst thing, looking over old code. Yeah.
That was probably the best part about version 2 of the early bound generators. I got to throw away all this old stuff. That was like, it's like, what was I thinking when I did this? Like, oh, okay. So anyway, that was great.
Maybe it's sort of when you getting older, and you look back 3 years and see what code you created, and it's, wow, this is awesome, but I don't understand it. What did I create 3 years ago? I don't. How did I do that? So it's starting to getting like this. It's getting down. Let's say it's just my age.
I think we can just leave it at that. Yeah, it's just
new topic. Move on.
New topic. We're just getting old. Yeah.
So we talked about things that Tanguy's fixed, things that he's worked on, and things that coming down the pipe. He thinks he's got a beta out there of the new connections. I'm not quite sure about that. Jonas, you have anything new that you're working on? Anything you want to share?
Actually, about a week ago from this recording, early of May, I released 3 new tools.
3?
And I'm sorry, Tanguy. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you to sort of say that they are good. I just said they are good. Because
after the validation going out, hey, who validated these tools? I knew it was you.
Yeah. So it was 3 tools from the shuffle area, which is something I created like many years ago, but it's finally officially released. So that was one. And other than that, there are always things to do in the popular tools that I have. So can I say anything? No, we'll see. Well, one thing that's important for me at least is that the bulk data updater. From the beginning, you could just update values here and there, and then I added you can assign them and set the status and even to delete files. So I wanted a long time to have a crate as well. So crate like 50 records and with some logic on which values you should give. And that's sort of start working somewhere back here. Nothing's done yet practically, but that's coming sometime.
All right.
At the full time, or what do you call it?
In full disclosure of time?
Yeah.
In the fullness of time. Fullness of time. That's what it is. So here's what I want to know about your tools. Are they all three-letter acronyms? And are they all Swedish colors? Because I would be disappointed if that's no to any of those things.
A few are not like three letters. So no, sorry.
Oh.
So these shuffle tools, that was really hard to sort of switch to another sort of short name. So then I don't know what you call it. It's a shuffle B, D, and R. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but anyway.
Sounds like a dance. Hey, just shuffle B. Shuffle I.
What? Of course. That's why. Well, you have to read the documents and you'll see why it's called like that.
If we had the XrmToolCast on TikTok, we could do a shuffle dance on TikTok or something. That's all the cool kids are doing these days, right?
Yeah. Did I say that I'm old? I heard about the tickety-tockety, what that is.
What is this tickety-tockety nonsense you talk of?
Yeah. It's like Snapchat or whatever it's called. Snapchat. Nah, not my thing.
Snaps like the alcohol? That's it?
Snaps, yes. I asked my kids when the shindig was yesterday. You ever used the term shindig before for like a party or a get together or an activity?
Yeah.
And they're like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Shindig? Oh, it's just kind of a silly way of saying party. Sounds a lot funner than party or activity. Shindig."
Yes. Kind of goes in the same category as a hoedown in my mind.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Yes.
Yeah.
And although I imagine more singing or music at a hoedown for some reason. I don't know why.
Yes.
These are not English dictionary terms, I don't think. So anyway, that's okay.
Regarding this, but probably a more serious question, where is the best way to share information, like when something's updated and when you have something new you have to tell everyone because XrmToolBox is changed in some way or so. So how and where do you do that?
So you send an email to Scott and you have him put it in this little like pop-ups that come up during the ribbon workbench or you're waiting for it to load. That's how that happens.
You do that, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but it has to get money.
I don't know how he's not advertising the XrmToolCast on. If we did that, we'd have at least 6, 7 listeners.
Why am I not doing that? I need to do that. Come on, people need to tell me, give me ideas to what to put there. Yes, of course.
And I was when I was going to get some dressed like this. It's a very nice dress you have. But I thought, why don't we have these XrmToolCast T-shirts? Why is that?
Why is that? Yeah.
No. Okay. Then again, trying to go back to the serious question, Tanguy. Where is it? Is it Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever?
For now, it is Twitter, of course. Of course, I don't know why I say of course. But actually, there is some part of code in XrmToolBox that should be able to do what Scott did with the Ribbon Workbench with his enhancement and Ribbon Workbench. I was thinking about the same thing, to implement the same thing when there is a progress panel, maybe showing some information
that'd be cool.
time. Yeah, so the code is here. The progress panel is here. I just don't know where to host the web page that will do the message and how to. This is something I wrote maybe 2 years ago, I guess. It's never reached the milestone,
You could take Lin Zwin's his blogs with all. He does a blog of every single tool, right? And you could just pick one at random and show it each time.
Yeah, it could be something like that. I can use. I guess I created a new table in my Dataverse instance that should handle this. Yeah. But I never completed the feature. But that is something maybe I should work on harder and make it happen. So yes, we can inform all XrmToolBox users about news of any kind.
But now I have to ask all three of you. When you get the new version of my Fetch XML builder, I hate that name. It's so hard to say it. Anyway, when you have a new version of Fetch XML builder, you always get pop up the release notes. Do you like that, or is just this is annoying and just click close it immediately, or do you actually read that?
Do you want the honest answer or?
I do like the UI. It's always really nice.
Okay, nice.
Yes, I read the first top points to check what is new, and it can help me to be better at my job when I use your tool.
You're an awesome user. Thank you.
But I know some users, and especially my colleagues, when I do screen sharing with them, they open the tool, there is a pop-up, oh, new version here. Cancel, abort, anything.
Yeah.
Why don't you just click on update on next run? It's the same action that clicking on cancel, and you will have the new version after. I don't care. Okay. Or they even don't read the release note to see if it's important for them or not. Just close that damn window.
But then my thinking go on to, could we just introduce a force update? So when you want to start my tool, it just have to be updated. So you cannot just start it with an old version.
I think we've just got to that part of the show where Jonas gives the guests some homework to do.
I think so. I think so.
And as I said, I don't have time these days.
I have to talk to your boss.
Maybe later.
Can I get his number?
That should be possible if there was an information in the NetSpec file. Let's say you have to, it's mandatory, or it's a mandatory update. But I'm not sure there is this kind of tag available in the NetSpec file. So it could be implemented, but where to store the information, that's the point.
I almost wonder if it had to be in the portal, in the XrmToolBox portal, when you're managing your plugin to put it out there. Like, hey, this, I need to require this version going forward or something like that. Because, I could see that. It'd be nice to actually retire the version 1 of the early bound generator. But anyway, we'll see. And the answer to your question, Jonas, is yes, I love seeing all the stuff you put in the tools, and then I know what I want to play around with or test with. But I'm sure there are plenty of people that just ignore it. Don't listen to them. They're not your true users.
Daryl, I love you.
Love you too, Jonas.
Group hug.
Smalls here. That's all.
All right. Well, we've gone around, we've reminisced, we've gone from American football, which I always got to bring up, and then to coding things, to crying and group hugs. Anything else that we need to do to fully flesh out 100th episode?
Just say congrats to everyone.
Yes.
Congrats to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the party hats, would that be too much?
I do have cake, so I have some cake from the shindig yesterday. So maybe I should just.
Well, and I like Jonas's idea of the t-shirts. Like the 100th XRM 100th anniversary or something. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we should increment the season on it, make it like a season 2, or just leave it all as season 1. I don't know.
It sounds like one of the K dramas that my wife watches. It's like, like how many episodes are in this season? You're basically going to be watching this until 2050 if you start watching it now.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for joining us, both Tanguy and Jonas and Scott, as well as filling in for Jonas temporarily. I appreciate that.
Scott, for being here from me and Daryl's podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for you being here.
Like I said, I'm just an appendage, a Canadian appendage.
Just to be clear, but go on, Daryl.
Jonas, you tell me when you want to kick Scott off, and we'll have to figure something out. I don't know.
It's hard to go up to this level.
He's got a retainer fee. We're gonna have to pay him. It's gonna be it's in his clause.
Yeah, the small print. You didn't read the small print.
No. So, well, Tanguy, once again, I appreciate all the work you've done for the community. Everyone appreciates it immensely. You're famous wherever you go in our community, I'm sure. And I don't think there's anybody else that quite has the the MVP fame and the model-driven app side of the house as Tanguy. Yes, thank you for that. If there are any of our listeners that would like to get a hold of you to either give you some more homework that you don't have time to do on the toolbox, or just to reach out and thank you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Twitter is the best. It's still the best place to contact me and
or XrmToolBox handle. And this is the XrmToolBox handle still, or do you have a personal?
Yes, sorry, yes, XrmToolBox, yes.
Okay, cool.
And there is a GitHub repository if really needed.
And Jonas, you're still checking up on the Twitters or LinkedIn?
If I'm checking on Twitter. Oh, our Twitter.
Your Twitter.
Mine. Oh, that's Rappen. Rappen. Rappen.
Yeah.
That's me.
Rappen.
But more important, with the same tag in GitHub. So go there and create issues there instead of just annoying me on Twitter. Or do that. Anyway.
I love that Jonas just assumes the only reason anybody would reach out to him is to complain about something he wrote.
Yeah, why would they want anything else to me? They don't care about me.
Well, Scott, that is how our listeners can get hold of our main guest and our second guest, who's almost the co-host as well. Jonas, I don't know how to title you. So,
Mr. Jonas.
Mr. Jonas, yes. Our guest and Mr. Jonas. How can they get a hold of us?
Well, I mean, Daryl, I feel as though Jonas should do the honors of telling everyone.
Jonas, how can they get a hold of us?
Yeah, please send me an email. XrmToolCast@XrmToolBox.com. I did it. Or find us on Twitter at @XrmToolCast and search for the same things on LinkedIn. And well, we are everywhere.
We're YouTube, everywhere. LinkedIn, and Twitter, and that's plenty. That's more social media than I can handle already. So, and it was cast at XrmToolBox, not XrmToolCast.
I was debating.
I won't be back.
I knew he'd give me a reaction, so I had to say something. Next time, on the 200th episode or whatever. So, all right, guys, it's great hanging out with you. Great chatting with you, and thanks for joining on. Thank you for 100 episodes. To everybody else, all the other guests as well. So, talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Then.
This has been the XrmToolCast with Daryl Labar and Scott Durow. Produced by Lynn Zawin. If you have any questions or suggestions, please send them to cast@XrmToolBox.com, tweet @XrmToolCast, or hit us up on our LinkedIn XrmToolCast page.